Hi Nirmala, hi Shushmit, hi Srilakshmi.
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir. Hi. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so leaving the meeting to you all. Happy week, first day. And so, see, we have already completed around 1 week of our program. There are only 3 more weeks, and after that, you will be moved into projects, and you will be guided on how can you move. Since Srilakshmi have already paid, she will be directly moved into teams. But for others, we'll discuss in the second week or third week or fourth week. But enjoy the sessions and have a great learning. Okay?
Thanks, Vajrang.
Yeah. All yours, Vamshi. I'm leaving. Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir.
Hi. How are you all?
Yes, fine, sir.
Good. So, in today's topic, so before I start what we're gonna do today, I just wanted to understand if you have any questions or any problems so far, whatever we have done. If you are silent, I'll take it as no problem. Okay, that means no problem. And then let's move forward. So in today's session, just a moment. Okay. So in today's session, we will learn something related to data tables and also Excel sheet. So before we start, uh, let me take a new sequence for now, whatever we are doing today. Let's say August 2022, and then I'm creating a sequence. Hope everybody joined, or are we missing anybody? Okay, Niranjan is missing, so I'm continuing. Niranjan can see the recording in the later on stage. Yeah. So today we will do understanding what is a data table and also reading and data from an Excel sheet and all other things. So these two are bit related topics. So like continuous 1 or 2 or 3 days, we will continue working on these few topics. Okay. So now let's say what our requirement is to read the data from an Excel sheet, right? So to read data from an Excel sheet, the moment you type something called read range, you will find two activities like this. And these are like this is one of the most commonly asked interview question. What is the difference between this read range activity, whatever you have inside an Excel, and this read range activity, whatever you have inside an workbook? Okay. So let me take a read range, whatever I have inside a workbook. But in the coming time, you'll also know what is this read range. Why is UiPath having two read range activities? So I'm taking read range activity. So the moment I give read range activity, it will ask me for workbook path. So what is workbook path means? With what Excel data you wanted to retrieve. Let's say you want to retrieve some Excel data. Let's say, for example, let me go to our project folder. So if you remember, other day we have got this iPhone model data, that particular iPhone models and prices, right? So I want to retrieve the data from this iPhone data. Instead of having these many, let me remove all the other things from here, and let's do it for only these many records. Okay, and let's put in column here. First one is model and second one is price. Just basic thing, I want to read the data, and the sheet name for this is phones. PHONES, phones is the sheet name. So now let's start working on it. I want the path of this particular file. So I should click on this file explorer and go to this file wherever you have, and then do Control Shift right click. You will have something called copy as path. So copy this path, go to this sheet here in this property and paste the Excel path. In case if you have something like this users and all, you can also remove this everything and just point your file name, because this project is in your working folder only. So you can just go and do F12 and copy this sheet name and also paste it here and within the double quotes. And here it is asking sheet name. So what is our sheet name? We have phones. So our sheet name is phones. I'm giving phones, and you see when I'm giving phones, it is throwing me an error because I should put it in the double quotes. So whenever you are giving a sheet name, everything, make sure it's a string value. And once I give these two things, error is gone. So these are the two basic information you need to give when you want to read the data from an Excel sheet. Any doubts so far?
No.
Okay. After that, I
No,
should
sir.
create a data table. So now if you see the properties at the right hand side, it's saying sheet name. I gave the sheet name. It's giving me path. I gave the path of this Excel sheet. Range is like if you want to get the data from whatever I've highlighted, then the range should be A2 to B8. Let's see if I want only this data, whatever I have highlighted, then I should give the range something like this. Double quotes A2 colon B8. Then this is how you build a range. But my requirement is I want to read the complete Excel sheet. If your requirement is to read the complete Excel sheet, just leave it blank. When you are leaving the range as blank, then you get the complete data from that Excel sheet. Okay. So now I am understanding that I will get the complete Excel sheet data. Now, if I am retrieving something, I should store some data at some particular variable. So far, customer name equal to, let's say when I said Sri Lakshmi, so that Sri Lakshmi's data was assigned to a variable which is of string type. But this is not a simple text. This is a data table, a data within a structured data, which is of a table type. So if you want to assign a values of that data in a structured table wise, then the output, if you see the output section, if you see the what is the output of this, it says data table. So this is very important concept which we are gonna deal for next 2-3 days. Data table related with Excel concepts. So now to create a data table, what is the shortcut? To create a variable, what is the shortcut?
Control K.
Control K. And whenever you are creating a data table, always make sure the first two characters are DT. Always make sure the first two characters are DT if it's a data table. If it's a string, I already told you it should be str. So this is a data table. I say underscore. And what data are we dealing with? I'm dealing with the mobile phones or something like that. I can say iPhone mobile data. That's it. So now when you go back to your variables, you get this sheet available. I mean, this variable is ready with the type of variable type. Now let me ask you, let me tell you one interview question now. So this sheet is open, right? This sheet is opened. Now I want to read the data and then let it assign to this particular sheet. So I am triggering this process. To trigger that, I should say run file. So I'm just doing run file and see what is happening. So the moment I do that, it says the process cannot access this so and so file because it has been used by another process. So anybody can tell me what is the problem here?
We have created that data table in a different flowchart.
No, we have put it in the same sequence within this workflow only. I have created this data table, and also you can see the data table here.
The Excel workbook is open, so that's why it's giving the error.
Okay, very good. So when your Excel workbook is opened, then you cannot read the data from this Excel sheet. So the first question which I have asked today when we started is we have two read ranges. So one of the drawback of this read range activity, which is inside workbook, is you should always make sure your Excel is closed before you are running the process. That is one point you should remember. But if you are using this read range, which I will show you in couple of time, maybe tomorrow when we are dealing with all of these activities, at that time you will see this read range, even the Excel is open, you will be able to read the data from this Excel. So now if I'm reading this, like if I want to run this file where it will read the data from an Excel, let's see what it's happening now. So there is no exception at this moment. And if you go to output, it started and then it ended. Within 3 seconds, the process has been ended, but we have not got any result, right? We have not got any result because we have not put any write line, no message box, no log message, nothing. But ultimately, what did we do? We have assigned the value to a data table. Now let me do one more thing. Let me take a write line activity. So far, what did we do to show a value, whatever we have in a string, we used to say like this, go and say, use that variable. Now we already have this variable called data table called dt iPhone mobile data. So let me say dt iPhone mobile data. When I just simply give this data table variable to write line, it won't accept, and it says compiler error because you cannot put data table in a write line. Basically, write line will only accept a string. So let's say if I want to make it dot to string, and then if I say okay, and then if I run this, let's see what is that output it will show you, whether it will show me the data of that Excel sheet or if it is showing me anything else. Now, if I go and show the output, it says simple data table. But this is not I required. I required the data whatever we have in Excel sheet. If anybody is asking you, how do you read the data from an Excel sheet? What do you do? I use read range activity to read the data from an Excel sheet by giving the path, by giving the sheet name, and get it assigned to a data table, which is DT iPhone mobile data. Until this point, it's clear. But I'm not showing you the data, whatever I have in the sheet, right? Right? So far clear? Anybody know what should I do to show the data in the output? Instead of data table, I want to show the data. Whatever we have in the Excel sheet? What should I do? Any idea, anybody?
I think there is one activity.
Any idea what is that activity name?
Data table, I think.
Yeah. So to overcome these challenges, to fix all of these issues, something like one which I told you where I cannot see the data and all, we have the list of activities, right? So for example, we have output data table. I have got something here. We have add data column. So there are list of activities here in the left hand side. So these are commonly used activities whenever you are performing any process automation. These data table related activities are mostly used. So I will go one by one and help you understand one activity. So let's start with output data table. So I told my problem is I want to show the data to you people. If I said data table, it was showing as data table. Now I will introduce this concept called output data table. So if you see what is output data table, it says writes a data table to a string using the CSV format. So basically what output data table will do is, please understand, output data table will convert a data table to a string. Because if I want to show the data, then that should be in string format. If this should be in string format, I want my data table to be converted to a string. To convert the data table to a string, what I need to do is I should pass this input as a data table. So what is our input? DT iPhone mobile data. And what is the output we wanted to save? I want to create a new variable now saying str iPhone data. Clear? Now I want to just display this str iPhone data here by saying control space. I got the str iPhone data. Now if I'm running this process, you should see the complete data like model price, the list of available sheet data. In this sheet, whatever we have at that moment, we got the full data. So how do you show me the data of a data table? Is I use output data table to convert a string, to convert it to a string and then put it in the right line so that that will convert to a string. That is the first activity we have learned related to data table. Any doubts, anybody?
No, sir.
Okay, if that was done for you,
Can
yeah,
we show it as a data table as like a Excel sheet? Can we present it as a Excel sheet?
yes, very good. So let's say you read this data. Okay, you read this data. Can I answer to your question in 2-3 minutes? In 2 to 3 minutes?
Sure, sir. No worries.
So let me do one more thing. To answer your question, I'll do one more thing as well. So the first one, hope everybody understood what is output data table. So I'm saying done. Now let me go back this thing. Put it in our chat. Then files. Oh shit. Let me use this and finally put the screenshot here instead of this. So you people have understood what is output data table. I already showed you what is read range is doing. It will read the data from Excel and store it to data table. So now let me do one more thing now. Let's start with one by one. So let's start with add data column. So I am taking add data column. So what is add data column is basically if you want to add a column to your Excel sheet, I mean your data table. So as of now, how many columns are there in our data table?
2 columns.
2 columns, right? One is model, another is price.
Price.
Let's say I wanted to add a new column saying year of manufacturing, something like year. So if I want to do that, I should basically say column name. I want to create another column to this data table with a column name called year. And also I want to pass a data table, like because to which data table I want to add a column, I should pass the data table, which is dt underscore iPhone mobile data. The moment you do that, automatically all your errors are gone. And what are we trying to do? We are trying to add a column to our data table. Let me trigger this and show you what's happening. So now if you see output, model, price, year is something which was created just now, but there is no year data because we have not added any data related to year. But this is how you basically add a column to your data table. Clear on this point?
Yes, sir.
Add data column is to create a column to your data table, and like just like I showed the simple way, you create a data column to your data table. As you're done with this, I'm just okay. So I have just created this data column, right? So now what I'll do is I will introduce another Excel activity now, which is called write range. Like read range is reading the data from an Excel sheet. Read means getting the data. Write means we are writing the data to some Excel sheet. So let's write the data. So I'm saying write the range. I'm putting write range. Let's say it is asking for path. Where do you want the data? In which Excel you want to write the data? Let's say we wanted to write the data to same Excel sheet. To this Excel sheet, we want to pass the data. It is asking me which sheet name you want to create. Let's say I want to create a sheet name saying for Sri Lakshmi. Just for training purpose, I'm giving this is for Sri Lakshmi. I'm creating an Excel sheet. And what data you want to pass into that Excel sheet? I want to pass this DT iPhone mobile data, whatever I have added with a new column. Everything I want to put it in this in this Excel sheet. So I've created to that. That's it. Now let's run this file and see what is happening. So with this activity called write range, you will be able to even create a sheet name, create a sheet with the data whatever you want. But as of now, we are only creating additional column name called year with the blank data. And if you see for Sri Lakshmi, something I have created just now. And where is here? Just a moment. iPhone mobile data. Okay, I got it. So basically, if you see, this is showing you only content of the sheet, right? This is the model header. Model is a column name. Price is the column name. But the content, whatever you are seeing is only the data of that Excel, but no column headers. Now, how do I fix this issue? Let me delete this sheet one more time. Okay, I'm deleting the sheet. So I don't have any Sri Lakshmi related sheet now. I am closing the sheet again. Now let's go back to UiPath. Okay, I'm going to UiPath. And now when writing the data, okay, when you're writing the data to an Excel sheet, you have an option called add headers. Add headers means do you want to put the column name also? If you want to put the column name also, you should tick this. If you don't tick this, just know whatever we faced, only data you will see. If you tick this, even the data with the column header like model, year, price, everything you see that. So once this execution is done, let's go back to that sheet which was created a few seconds ago, 225 for 825. Now let's go to that sheet. And now you see year is created. So this is the latest data table which we created. And Sri Lakshmi, to answer your question, this is how you basically create an Excel sheet.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Chalo, next. Now we have already learned the process of creating a data column. So data column is created. Now let's say data row. Now what is data row? We have this data, let's say iPhone, price, year, everything we have. Let's try to add a new row to that Excel sheet. So as I've already explained what is write range, so I don't want to show that Excel again, which will kill the time. So I'm just deleting this. All the data I will show it in the output. So now let's go to second activity, which is add data row. Now, what is data row is, let's say you have an Excel sheet, that sheet. Now we want to add more records. Now to add more records, let's see as of now, all the iPhone models are only there at this moment. Let's try to add a new model to this list of phones. And now if you see this is a data table, to which data table you want to add a record, you should pass the data table. So DT underscore iPhone mobile data. Now the important thing is you need to pass the rows to that data, like values. Now you just click on this near to array row, you click on these three buttons and you should pass the values to your data table. So what is the first thing I need to give? I need to give the model name of your iPhone. I can say like double quotes, like flower brackets, and then you give double quotes. Here you give 1 plus, let's say 70. Just for more reference, I'm giving a new model, which is 1 plus 70, and then I'm giving comma. Now, what is the second thing? Price. In the price, let me give you like let's say 75,000, and then comma, and year of year. Let's give year as 2022. 2022. Okay, so this is the new record we are just now adding. So far everything was iPhone. Now we are trying to add 1 plus record, which is of 75,000 price and 2022 model. Now let me run this process. With this, I will be able to create a new row to the data table. If you want, I can show you in that Excel, but even if I'm showing you in the output or Excel, everything is same. And if you see the output, The last one, 1 plus 70, 75,000, 2022, the record has been added to this data table. Any doubt so far related to add data row?
No, sir.
Everybody? No?
Yes, all good. Sir.
Okay. Next, let me go in this list so that I will not miss anything. So we have already covered this too. Let me take this build data table. To explain you build data table, I'll take a new sequence. Here I'll say build data table. So build, the moment you listen to this build means something you will have to build. This is something you will have to create your own data table. Read range, somebody has put some data in your Excel sheet, you're using that data. Build a data table is something your own creating your own data table. So let me use this build data table. Let me show you practically. I took this build data table. Okay, so I'm clicking on data table. So as of now, your data table is completely clean. So no values in your data table, and it has two columns. If you want to delete a column, also you can click delete the column. If you want to add a column, you can create a column like this. So let me add a column. Let's say employee name. Okay, I'm adding a column saying employee name, and then I'm saying okay. And the first column name is saying column 1. Instead of column 1, I'll say employee ID. And then I'm saying okay. Now I can add the values to this data table. Let's say first one is employee ID 101. And here I'll give the name as, let's say, Krishna 102. Let's say Sushmit. And then I'm saying okay. The moment you build on your own data table, I need to create a data table like I have already done for read range. Here I'm saying Control K, dt underscore build, whatever we have built now, that build data table. You can give your own name. This is not a strict variable name. As you already know what is a variables concept. Variables name is up to you. But the starting 2-3 characters str, int, dt is something as a best practice you will have to create a data table or a variable or whatever. So building a data table is clear. Now let's say if somebody is asking you in your interview, how do you tell how many rows are present in your data table? How do you get the number of rows in your data table? As of now, by visualizing it, you can clearly say there are 2 rows. 101, so Krishna is first record. 102, Sushmit is second record. But in UiPath, how do you tell how many records are present? Is an interview question. Anybody, any idea? Okay, if it's silence, I'll take, you don't know. I am taking this right line activity. Here I'm saying dt build data table dot rows count row count dot toString. When I do this, it will tell you number of rows present in your data table. So let's see how many rows are present at this moment, which you know there are 2 records. Like first is Krishna, second is Sushmit. Go to output and see there are 2 records. The same thing you can apply to this as well. We have already added some things. At the finally, in the right line also here you can say dt iPhone data dot rows count dot toString will tell you number of rows present in your data table. So simple. If anybody wanted to know how to get the rows count, just say data table. Okay, whatever data table you have, data table dot. The moment you say dot, automatically you'll get row count. Just say dot row count, then dot to string. That's it. When you do that, automatically there are 13 records for this data table. Previously there are 2 records. It was clearly shown, and you know what is build data table now. Okay, so that's how you build your own data table. And why do you need to create this build data table? Is sometimes you will not have any Excel sheet, you will not have any database, or you will not have any other source of information. So in that kind of scenario, you will have to create your own data table like I've did as an example. So that's a need. If you have that need, you will have to use this activity, but generally you should not use this activity because your input is from an Excel sheet or something like that. Okay. Now let me use the fourth activity called clear data table. Clear, what do you mean by clear, Nirmala? Clear means what?
Sir, all data will be erased, sir.
Exactly. All data will be erased or cleared. So when I build the data table, number of row count I showed you, it was 2. But now let me clear the data table. So to clear the data table, you should just pass this data table. Okay. Now just pass this data table. Now same thing. Above I have this copy pasted right line thing. No, I will put this copy pasted here. Now let's go one by one and see what is it doing. Okay, first one is build data table. So let's see what we have in build data table, which is employee ID 101, employee name Krishna Sushmit. We have the data, and let's see what is the row count. The row count, you see it in the output, which is 2. Okay, now I will clear the data table, which is like erasing the data. Now I erase the data, whatever I have in that. Now let's see what is there in the build data table, which is just an header. Employee ID, employee name, just the header, and everything is gone. Now if you see, the output is 0. That means this is the activity you should use to clear the data in your data table. Any doubts, anybody?
No, sir, clear.
Okay, great. So let's go and use another okay, before I use another activity, another thing I would like to tell, which will help you for your interviews is, when I clear the data table, you clearly see, right, that header like employee ID, employee name, that is not cleared. If I thought somebody would ask me this question, but you have not asked, so I'm telling you, to to clear even the header of your data table, you should use this as an activity and say dt your data table equal to new data table. If you just write this small code, write data table equal to new data table, that's it. New data table is like fresh data table. Now let's see what it is doing. So if somebody wanted to clear completely, including the header, then that is the right one. So when you clear the data table, I showed you, right? The value is, you have the employee ID, you have the employee name without any content. But when I do data table equal to new data table, even whatever you have in this variable is completely cleared. Even the employee ID, employee name column also gone. Now if you see the count is 0. So you have completely cleared, you reinitialize your variable. That is the concept of reinitializing the data table. And how do you do that? Simple, equal to new data table. Okay, so now we'll go back to new variable called filter data table. Filter, Sri Lakshmi, what do you mean by filter?
We can filter the different fields. Uh, like we can retrieve data regarding you to a particular name or a particular like that.
Okay, for example, let's say we have 103 another employee ID, let's say Nirmala. So when we have 3 records in this Excel, in this data table, let's say I want to filter the data of Nirmala record only. Only I want to filter the record of Nirmala. If I need to do that, then I should use this activity called filter data table. If I am using filter data table, the first thing you need to do is click on configure filter. Okay, when you do configure filter, it will tell you, it is asking you input data table. So what is your data table at this moment?
Build data table.
Sorry,
Build data table.
exactly, build data table. So I want to take this as an input. Okay, now I'm taking this as an input. And now my requirement is I want to filter a data table if my employee name equal to Nirmala. To do that, I want to keep that record. I don't want to remove that record. I don't want to remove Nirmala's record. I want to only keep Nirmala's record. So I should select keep. If I want to remove Nirmala's, in that case, out of 3, Nirmala's record was gone. You'll have 2 records. But if I want only, if I put keep, that means you will only get Nirmala's record. And what is the column name? It's employee name. And if employee name is equal to Nirmala, Nirmala, Nirmala. If employee name is equal to Nirmala, then you get the data table and assign it to another data table. You can use the same data table as well. Again, you assign it to DT build data table. Now let's see how is this input data table is working. Okay, now let's run this. Hope everybody understood what I did in filter data table. If not, please tell me. So we have this data table, which is 3 records, 101, 102, 103. And now in the 103, we have Nirmala. So I am trying to doing a filtering for this above data table. Only get me a record where you find employee name equal to Nirmala. So how many Nirmalas are present in this moment at this moment?
Only one.
Only one record. Super.
One, sir.
So when I'm doing step into, then now let's see what is in our data table. We have only one record of 103 Nirmala. So that means filtering means you have thousands of 2000s of records, but you want only few records. You basically filter the data from that records. So you have employee ID of 103 and employee name equal to Nirmala. And then you have the row count, which is 1. So this is how you basically use a filter data table. Now let me add more to this build data table. Let me help you understand more features of it. Let's say 104 is like Nirmala Rani. Okay, let's say there is another person in the same organization and her name is Nirmala Rani. And now if I'm running this, can somebody guess me the output? Sri Lakshmi, if I'm running this, what is the output?
So we are using equal to sign, so it will give you only one, I think, one Nirmala.
Anybody says 2, it will retrieve 2, or everybody is saying 1 only?
No, sir. One file for Nirmala name.
Okay, Sushmit?
I think it will show 1 because
It should.
equals to.
Yeah, because we have put equal to symbol. So let's see how it's running. Okay, build data table, and then it will filter the data. After filtering the data, let's see what we have in the build data table. It says only 103, which is of Nirmala. So Nirmala Rani's record was not taken into consideration because the text is different. But what if the requirement is like this? I don't care about the surname or whatever. I only care about the first name. For example, if you take that as a requirement, then what you need to do, click on configure filter, and then here you'll have something called contains. So please explore all of these options, whatever comes to your mind. Let's say if the employee ID is so and so, if the amount, you can take amount as an example. If the amount is less than $15,000, whatever, you take that as an example and try from your side. Now I'm using another operation saying contains. Now I'm saying okay. And now if I'm saying this thing, and now if you see there are 2 records, Nirmala and Nirmala Rani, right? Clear everybody?
Yes, sir, clear.
Yes.
Okay, one more. Let's do more and more complicated now. Employee ID is there, employee name is there. Let's say location. And now I'm saying okay. Let's say Chennai, Kolkata. Let's say Hyderabad. Let's say UK. And then I'm saying okay. Now if I'm running this process, And now if I see this data table, it says 103 Nirmala Hyderabad, 104 Nirmala Rani UK. But let me help you understand one more thing. I don't want employee ID. I don't want employee name. I want only location from this data table. I want only location when I'm filtering a data table. I want only location. Can we do that? Sushmit, can we get only location from the data table by any chance?
Do we have to use the filter data table option or
Yeah,
other option?
with filter
Okay,
data
from
table.
this here. Okay.
Yeah.
From the operations, can we change it?
The operations I said contains. So employee name equal to Nirmala. See, operations is basically if your amount is less than 15,000, if your name contains a word called Nirmala, or if your number is less than so and so, you use this. But my question is, out of those 3 columns, I want only one column to be displayed as an output. For that, what should we do is,
We can
go
change the column name.
how do you change the column name? Okay, let me tell you how to do that. Like I showed, the output is having 3 columns, which is employee ID, employee name, and location. But when I'm getting the final output data table, I want only location, right? So you click on this tab called output data table. Okay, you click on this tab called output data table. Now here you'll have 2 options, keep or remove. Now I want to keep only location, remove everything. So just go to keep radio button. Here you say double quotes, LOCATION location. And then I say, okay, that's it. Now let's see what it's doing. So basically out of 3 records, 3 columns, I want only Nirmala's record with only location is my requirement. And let's see what is the output. See, on this data table, I got only location, which is of Hyderabad for first Nirmala, second for Nirmala Rani, it's UK, and then I got only data table. So what I am trying to tell you here is, with this filter data table is such powerful where you can filter your rows, filter your columns according to your requirement. Okay. When you get more project related task, you will need to use this activity. But ultimate agenda or ultimate functionality of this is to filter your rows like this, filter your columns like this, and whatever you want to filter, you do it with this contains with this operation, and then get your data ready for your further processing. If you are all clear, let's go to next item.
Yes, clear.
Sri Lakshmi, hope you are clear.
Yes, sir, clear. Yeah.
Okay, so fine, super. So as you understood this, I will remove this. So now let's do more and more things related to this data table, which is another data table activity called for each row in data table. This is one of the very commonly used activity. Every project will have this activity. I am 100% sure. Okay, I'm 100% sure. Most like 99% of the active projects will have this activity called for each row in data table. Before I explain you this activity, anybody can tell me what is for each? Any basic terminology not related to UiPath. What is for each?
It's a kind of loop activity.
It's a kind of loop activity. Okay.
Where
Nirmala,
it will
sorry.
where it will go for
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Where it will?
Where it will go by one row by one.
Row by one. Yes, correct. So as of now, if you see, when we have a data like this, like first is Krishna, second is Sushmit, Nirmala Rani. So I want to process each record one by one, right? First record, Krishna, update it. Sushmit record, pick it up, update it. Nirmala, pick up, update. Nirmala Rani, pick up, update. Right? So if this is your requirement, then how do we do that? So for that, you should use this activity called for each data table. And then inside this, you should pass the data table with what you're dealing with. Currently, what data table we are dealing? We are dealing with TT underscore build data table. Now, all the drama will happen within this body. inside this body. So let's put a log message, anything, write line or log message, whatever you are, fine. I'm just using this log message. I'm saying information. And then here, let's say current row of what do you want to get this from this data table. Let's say I want to get the location. I want to get the location one by one. I'm saying current row, inside bracket, you say LOCATION, location. That's it. So let's go inside and see step by step what it's doing. Debug. Now how what is performing, like step by step, you will be able to understand. Okay, please concentrate. This is how I generally debug any process, let it be in production or let it be a developer. I will do it like this. So first I have a data table. So let me display what is in data table. So I have these records 101, 102, 103, 104. So now I'll do step into. Step into means first, like Sushmit said, when it is doing a for loop, like one item. So what do we have in first item? Current row, and then do enter. So in current row, we have record for 101, which is Krishna, which is of Chennai. Okay, this is the first record. Now I want to display only location from this first record. Step into log message, current row of location. In current row, I have Krishna, I have 101, I have Chennai. But what do I want? I want only location from this. I say step into, I got this Chennai displayed here. Okay, step into. Now the second item. Now what do we have in second item? Sushmit record. Now from Sushmit record, I want only location. I got Kolkata. Next, Hyderabad. Next, UK. And then do we have any more records after UK? No. For loop is out of the bound because there are no more records. Then come out. Then go and pick the next activities, whatever you have designed after the for loop. So like Sushmit said, each and every item one at a time. First is Chennai, then Kolkata, then Hyderabad, then UK. Like step by step for each row will run accordingly. Is that fine, or do you want me to explain this concept in a very different way? For every activity, I can explain you in n number of times or in n number of ways. Only ultimate goal for me is to you should understand. Is that clear? For each row in data table. Again, I'm just repeating. Sri Lakshmi, you gone mute. In mute, any problem?
No, sir, I'm clear.
Okay, I'm just repeating what we have done here. In the input, I'm passed the data table, and here whatever I want, let it be current row of location. Let's say instead of location, I can also say, let's say if I wanted employee IDs, I can just replace with location with EMP ID. Then also I'll get the same output. Let me remove a breakpoint from here and run this. So instead of displaying the location, I said current row of employee ID. It should retrieve 101, 2, 3, 4. So ultimately, it will go and iterate every item step by step, and that is how for each will run. And for all the developers like you who are in the very basic stage, for each understanding is very, very important. And you would see good number of questions related to data tables, and that for each is for sure. Okay, now let's go to another activity called data table, generate data table from text. So I will leave it to you. See, by the name itself, you will be able to understand. Generate a data table from text. In the beginning, we have done output data table, which is converting a data table to a string. Now generate data table will convert a data table from text. Like that at that place, it was data table to string, yet string to data table. Do you want me to still show you? I'll show you, or else we'll go to next item.
Yes, please. I don't know this activity.
You want me to show?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm just creating a new activity called generate thing. I'm just copy pasting this build data table activity, whatever we have here. Okay. Okay, let me do one thing for you. Anybody know how do we move the string, whatever the string we have, to a text file? I want to put this text, the string text, to a notepad. Can we do that? To do that, to convert a string to be placed in a text file, what should I do is, you just take this activity called write text file. So basically, write text file is creating a text file. This is, let's say, build text dot txt. Right, in the file name you say build text dot txt, and then a text. What text you want to pass? I want to pass whatever I have converted. So to convert a data table, I should use output data table. Here I'm saying dt data table, which I've already showed you. You are passing this data table. This will convert your string str control k str underscore build data. Now whatever you have converted as a string, you best pass it to this string here. Okay, that's it. I'll again tell you, I have this build data table with these 4 records. I'm converting it to a string, which is str build data. Now this string I wanted to create as a text file. Now let's see what is happening. Debug. Now it should basically create us a text file with a text name, file name saying build text and the content inside it. Now let's go back to the project and let's see if there is any file. Yes, build text. And then this is our file. Okay, this is what it created now. Now let's go to our new sequence, which is basically reading the data from this text file, because in the future your data can also be in a notepad like this. So in that cases, what you should do, first read the data from a text file. For that you'll have read text file. Am I going fast, or hope you are following me? Please tell me if I'm going
No,
fast.
sir, following, sir. Yeah, following.
Okay. So to read the data from a text file, I should use read text file. To write the data to a text file, I should use write text file. Reading means getting the data. Writing means writing the data to a file. We write the data to this file. Now I want to read the data from this file, which is of this particular file name. I should pass this file name here. After you read the data from this text file, you should create a variable saying str file data. Now whatever you have in this file, okay, now whatever we have in this file, let's try to see if we are getting the file data. Run. Like slowly you'll keep adding lot of activities to your list. We are already learning read text file, data tables, excels, so don't forget anything. Okay, so read text file, we got the data. Now let's see the output. We have the data, employee ID, name, everything we have got. But what is our goal? We wanted to convert a text data, because this is a text, right? str file data is a text. Now let me generate a text. Okay, so first I should give this text. Now I should basically create a data table, which is dt from text file. Guys, don't give any space in your node variable name. You cannot put a space in your variable. Okay, now we are creating a data table saying dt from text file. That means you have created a data table. So now I want to write this text to a Excel sheet. For that, I already showed you write range. Now here workbook path, let's say abc.xlsx. Just for this reference, I'm saying abc, and sheet name you can say as sheet 1 and dt from text file. Let's see if it's creating a Excel sheet after reading the data from a text file. So what task did we do? Read the data from a text file, put it into an Excel sheet. Okay, when I went for one of the interview in HCL, the first question they have asked me is to do this one. How can you tell me how do you read the data from a text file and then put it in an Excel sheet? And we did the same exact thing in these steps. Let's go to project and go here. And then we just created this ABC sheet. Let's open it and let's see if everything is okay, or do we need to do anything else? So if you see, actually, we should basically see employee ID, employee name, location as a separate column. But how did we get here? All these three in one column, one cell, these three in one cell, these three in one cell. So this is not the right way of writing the data to an Excel sheet. So did we do anything mistake here? The point we have not followed here is, if you go to here where it says generate data table, go to options, and then here it says format of your text. Your text is having a comma, right? Every character, if you want to separate this, you should basically say CSV file, and then here you should say separated with a comma. Based on your text, you can filter it. Here also you can say, now I am copying this, pasting it here, and then I'm saying preview. If this is working, then only you say okay. So this is what I want the data, right? And if you ignore first column and the preview, the first column was ignored. If I do it like this and say preview, you got it like this, and then say okay. So finally, if you want to convert from a string to a data table, this is how you basically do. And let's try to run this file again and show you. I'm deleting this file and then triggering this process one more time. Okay, so let's go to that sheet with ABC sheet. Now we should have this comma separated values. We have a concept called CSV, which we will discuss, but this is how you do a comma separated value, and everything is separated. Every column is separated and it is looking better. Okay, clear everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so some of them we discussed today. I think I will not overload you all people today. So let's just recap what we discussed today. So let's start with Sri Lakshmi. Sri Lakshmi, can you quickly tell what did we learn today?
About the data tables,
Yeah.
how to create data tables,
Mm-hmm.
and how to retrieve data from the Excel sheet.
How do you do that?
How to retrieve from data from Excel sheet, to read read range, using read range.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen any problem when using a read range? Is there any problem when we use read range? Did we face any problem?
Yes, sir. We checked something right side, right?
Okay, fine. I'll go to Sushmit. Okay, Sri Lakshmi. Sushmit, can I ask you a few questions? Let's see how much you understood.
Sure.
What did we learn today?
First, we learn how to read the Excel file, and in the workbook section, where if the Excel file is open, it will not be able to read the Excel. So we need to close it first and then read the Excel file.
Correct. So
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Then we with the right range, how to write the data to another Excel workbook or to the same Excel workbook to different space.
Mm-hmm.
Then we learn about the how to build a data table and how to output the data table to a string format so that we can show in the output panel.
Yeah.
Then we learn about for each row where where is a loop function where we can go by one row to show the data what we have.
Yeah.
Then we learned about the filter variable where we can filter any person's name or employee name to check what are the details they have.
Yeah.
And then we learn about add error column where we can add a column and
Mhm.
then show it in Excel in the how to add the Excel in the form, and then how to add row.
How do I add a row?
And
Can you, let's say if this is the activity, I want to add a row. If I'm tagging this add data row activity,
yes,
so how do we add the row to a data table?
first we need to put the in the data table format in the column the variable name.
Okay.
Then in the array row section, where we second bracket.
Second bracket is like this flower bracket.
Yes, flower.
Yeah.
Second bracket. Then inverted comma. Under inverted comma, we will have to
Yeah.
put the data.
Based on what you want to add, comma
Yes.
separated, whatever
Comma separated,
columns
then
you
what we
wanted to
have.
add, this one you can
Yes.
do. So for example, if you clearly see, I've added 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, but we have basically have only, let's say 3 or 4. Let's say 2 or 3 columns. Okay. But when we are trying to add 4 values to that data table. Okay. Please learn this. This is again commonly asked questions. When your data table, let me show you a simple way. Okay. So when we have this build data table, okay, we have only 3 columns, but I want to add it when I'm trying to add a row, which is of like this build data table. I'm adding an array row, double quote, flower brackets, comma, the comma, and then comma. When we have only 3 columns, but we are trying to add 4 values to the data table, it will throw index out of range exception. Exception is a different concept, but understand just this pop-up. It says input array is longer than the number of columns in that inside this data table, so it will throw you an exception. So you cannot add more than what you declared. You are declaring 3 columns, so only add 3 column values here, not 4. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Sushmit. I think you covered almost everything. Nirmala, anything else do you want to ask or tell us?
Sir, as of now, I cleared, sir, and then I work out this topic, and after that, in case any I have doubt, I will ask you, sir.
Okay, fine. Thanks, Nirmala. So with this, I am done for today. If no other questions, we can close the call. Thanks everyone for joining. If you have no questions, please disconnect.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Yes, bye. Bye, ma'am.